Hello, and welcome to another exciting edition of Hidden in the Universal Vault. I'm Ron, your host, and I'm welcoming you to my review of Buck Privates. Yes, we're now finally returning back to the glory days of black and white films. And we're also taking a look at one movie off the set. I'm watching this off of the 8-movie wartime comedies. As I said before, I did pick this up. This has Buck Privates, Caught in the Draft, Here Comes the Waves, The Private War, Major Benson, Hale the Conquering Hero in the Navy, which is the other Abbott and Costello movie, Francis joined the WAC, and The Perfect Furlough. But Buck Private's the movie I wanted to cover, and I never really watched a movie with Bud Abbott and Lou Costello, so I figured we started Buck Privates. I'll get to the Navy very soon. So, yes, this Buck Privates was released in 1941, and this movie, I'm going to open this up so I can go ahead and run the cast. So in addition to Abbott and Costello, we have Lee Bowman, Alan Curtis, Jane Frenzel, I hope I pronounced that right, Nat Pellington, and that's about it. It was directed by Arnold Lubin, who also directed a few of the Francis movies, which I cover on the channel. So, yeah. What did I think of Buck Privates as a movie? This is a fun watch. Let's talk about Buck Privates. So, here's the plot. Two con artists accidentally enlist in the United States, the U.S. Army to avoid getting arrested. That's pretty much what the plot on the front says. So basically, right at the beginning, they're running away from the cops. So right at the beginning, they're basically, like I said, they're con men. I believe they're con men? Yeah, they're con artists who are just running away from the cops. And they decide in order to get away from the cops, let's just enlist in the service. So now we get the enlistees and draftees. This movie came out in 1941 during World War II. So, again, they're trying to evade the cops, and now they weren't sure to get in the Army. So, I believe... I forget. Yeah. Abbott he's qualified in the Army because of his weight. Costello's like, well, I can't get in because I'm 200 and some pounds. The Army doctor says, well, congratulations, soldier. You're 200 pounds. And now he's freaking out. So, in addition to that, we get wonderful songs by the Andrews Sisters. This actually plays more like a musical at times. And they do sing in the movie. What especially I love about it is the humor. The scene where I believe, I had to look again, Costello. So I can't think of their names. Their names something else. They have characters' names, but I don't have a clue what their names are. So, Costello is like, I had to keep looking at this, guys, to see which character is which. But Costello is getting yelled by the drill sergeant because he doesn't know which way to go, and he's just bickering, arguing, and the drill sergeant isn't taking that crap. So he goes left while the soldiers are going right. No, he goes straight that way while the soldiers are going that way. But then it's the other way around. It's the opposite. He's going that way, and the soldiers are going that way. And then he can't make up his mind. So the humor comes out pretty much what you expect. So there's a big boxing match near the end. The climax shows a big boxing match. Then they finally go into war, and you can see like footage of World War II. Like I said again, at the beginning it shows, I believe President Roosevelt signing the draft bill, which is where they can draft anybody into the service. Like I said, I'm going to kind of get this out of the way. Back during World War II, they had volunteerees and draftees. If you volunteered, you go serve your country. If you're draftee, you're drafted. My great uncle once told me when he was drafted to be a paratrooper, he said the sergeant said, "Don't feel neglected. You have been selected." And that right there tells me all about. So they started doing drafts since World War II, I believe Korea, and the Vietnam War. So there hasn't been, guys, to not get out of the movie, they stopped the draft right after Vietnam. So, yeah. Now, back to Buck Privates. Again, what I liked again, you also have the Andrews Sisters as they're singing. I kind of went off topic there, but I kind of had to bring that up. So we get songs by Andrews Sisters, and they were, if you don't know who the Andrews Sisters were, they were singing sisters during World War II. They sang for the troops during the USO show during World War II, and they were like big singers. They're kind of like the pop music before pop music became big. Wonderful songs. The whole movie is just flat out fun, and it's just a wonderfully well-made but fun movie. I was laughing a good bit. I was laughing at the boxing stuff where he says, "Oh, this guy, I'm going to box this guy, no problem, piece of cake." What he does is he fights a guy with a three-leaf clover boxing shorts, and now he's all freaked out. And then all of a sudden he won the boxing match. And they sing the song Red, White, and Blue, and that's basically the sum of the movie. I really like Buck Privates. For a movie that's a comedy for its time, is actually pretty funny. And the humor works well. And these are wartime comedies, and I think for a movie that came out in the 1940s during the height of World War II, you just need a good escapist entertainment to keep everybody satisfied so they don't have to fear and panic about World War II and stuff like that. But Abbott and Costello are just funny guys. They also, before they became movie stars, they had a radio thing called Who's On First, which is really funny. I watched a YouTube video of that, and that's how I knew who Abbott and Costello was the Who's On First. A friend showed me that in college, and I got a kick out of it, and that's how I discovered who Bud Abbott and Lou Costello were. And like I said, they play different characters. I think it's fun for a movie. And definitely looking forward to watching In the Navy. Not to confuse with the Village People song, but In the Navy is the name of the movie. So, like I said again, I'm excited to watch that. We'll get to that one eventually. But I had fun with Buck Privates. I think for a movie like that, but there aren't really any negatives, but I think it's just a fun movie. If you want to see a movie for its time, if you want to see comedy before comedy became big, yeah, Buck Privates is worth watching. And at the end of the day, yeah, definitely check out Buck Privates. I think the characters work well. It feels like a musical at times. The side characters, as I said, I forgot to mention the side characters, they're good for what they are, and not really much. The stuff is, like I said, the comedy works well. The scene I like the most, I forgot to mention that Abbott is like listening to radio, but Costello tells him, turn up the music, turn on the music. Sergeant's not liking that, so he turns on the music, but then Sergeant comes back in, so he has to hurry up and turn off the music. And he keeps doing this back and forth to get the sergeant, basically to get the sergeant pissed. And he is not happy. So, want to bring that out again. I think that's really about it. As I said before, Buck Privates is worth watching if you want to see a movie. I'm glad I'm covering a lot of these black and white movies. If my grandmother was around, my grandmother would love this movie. We'd be having a good time with this movie. But for me, I liked it. I'm going to recommend it. If you want to see if you want a good comedy in film history, and you want to see comedy that was like that, like I said, I'm discovering these old movies because of film history. I'm discovering old movies. That's movies I'd never seen back then. It's a part of film history. And Buck Privates is worth watching if you want to know comedy and film history. So definitely Buck Privates is worth checking out. So let's go ahead and rate this right now. This was pretty easy though. I'm going to give Buck Privates a 4 out of 5. There's not much to say about the movie than to give it that score of what I gave it. But I figured for the score that I'm going to give it, I can't give it no more than that score. But I figured this way, it's a good watch, it's a fun watch. And I'm glad I returned to black and white. And I'm glad I returned to black and white. And I look forward to watching In the Navy down the road. So yeah, as for Buck Privates, give this one a watch for sure. If you want to see... I think there's another movie called Buck Privates Ride Again, which I guess is a sequel to Buck Privates. I don't know. It's called Buck Privates Ride Again or Buck Private Rides Again. I don't know. But I don't have that one, so I can't really say. As far as these 8 movie wartime comedies. I look forward to watching at least most of them, but we'll wait to check out the rest of these when I get to them down the road. So that's my review of Buck Privates. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you do like the content on the channel, like, comment, subscribe, click the bell, and ring the bell to get all the video notifications so you don't miss a single video on my channel, guys. I'm also on Letterboxd, guys, so you can check me out there as well. I rate the movies before I review them. And yeah, tons of content on the channel, from Universal reviews to DreamWorks movie reviews and Vlog City and stuff like that on the channel. Collection updates, all this and that. So head over to the channel. Let me know what you guys think. And yeah, like I said, yeah. Like, comment, subscribe, and click the bell to get the video notifications. So yeah, Buck Privates is worth a watch. That's all I can really say, guys. It's a fun movie. It's film comedy history, film history, however you want to say that. So give Buck Privates a watch if you want to discover film history. So that's it, guys. And as always, keep watching those Universal movies.